your letter that went out, explain your proposal, and then how people are accepting it.
All right. After the tragedy in Sandy Hook, and I mean, all of our hearts break for the families and for the loss of those 20 children and 6 brave adults that lost their lives there with that psychopath.
Yeah,
It caused me to stop and consider what we're really doing. It's been 15 years since Thurston High School in Springfield had a shooting. A year later, Columbine occurred. That's 14 years ago. 6 years ago, you had Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And now, 2 months ago, we have Sandy Hook Elementary. In each instance, you did not have armed response or the ability to stop a psychopath who's murdering innocents until after they were done and took their own lives. And so people say, well, what we need to do is regulate assault weapons. Of course, they define what an assault weapon. Any weapon can be a defense weapon or an assault weapon, but I understand they're talking about semi-automatic weapons. And of course, those weapons were already illegal in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And they say, well, let's put locks on the doors of our schools. There was already locks on the door of Sandy Hook Elementary, but he shot his way in. They say, well, we need lockdown procedures. Well, they had lockdown procedures in Sandy Hook. None of that saved those 26 people. And so it was like, what are we learning from this? All we are doing is more of the same, and that is when this 1 in a million chance that a psychopath will come onto a school campus with the ability to take life, when that happens, he's the only person that has the ability to respond with lethal force until you call 911 and you wait for 5 or 10 minutes or longer for the police to arrive. Well, by then, in these kinds of circumstances, the lives have been taken and a suicide has been accomplished. And so what I suggested was that we just can't do nothing. That a passive response is not saving lives. And so what I did was try to open up the conversation. And so I said, what would be wrong with having on each campus a school policy or school district policy where on each campus you have 2 or 3 individuals, maybe they're ex-law enforcement or ex-military, or they just are they're shooters, that's their hobby. They're interested in guns. They're not afraid of them. They have a mental toughness to actually use a weapon, and have those individuals have concealed carry permit, be able to carry on campus, and have them get extra training. Because you've got law enforcement, and they can give training. For years we've had police officers that would be volunteers and helping and so forth. We could have them be trained in terrorism and hostage issues, and then if there is a shot fired on their campus, they then would be able to assess where they're at, what the situation is, and whether or not it would be appropriate to meet lethal force with lethal force rather than just duck, hide, and hope that the bullets don't come your way. That passive approach has not worked. It's not good enough. And so I did this in a newsletter. It went out by email, and if anybody wants to see it, they can go to Dennis Richardson, all one word, .org. That's my website, and just click on newsletters and see it. I got a call from a teacher right after I sent this out, and he said, just wanted you to know I've been carrying a 9mm to school ever since Columbine, and nobody knows I've got it, but I'm not going to let another Columbine happen if I can stop it if I'm in that school.
Okay.
And 2 principals that I know are also carrying, and so it is happening now in school districts, but it shouldn't be done against the law, essentially. It should be done as a part of a process, a program where you provide training and you allow local law enforcement to do that, and you're recognized. You can have signs out there saying, understand, or if you come on these premises, there are those who are armed and prepared to deal with you. So no guns or dangerous weapons allowed.
I think that would be preventative right there. Just letting the public at large know,
Yeah.
hey, we might be packing here.